Okay, let's get into this. What if we told you that for decades, the UK military wasn't just tracking UFOs, unidentified flying objects, but that their pilots were actually allegedly trying to intercept them, even shoot them down?
Yeah, it sounds, I know, like pure science fiction, doesn't it?
It really does. But today, we're looking past those kinds of narratives. We're digging into factual reports, actual insights from, well, the defense front lines.
Hmm.
And for this deep dive, our main source is an audio report. It features Nick Pope.
Ah, yes, Nick.
He's the one who brought this out, and he actually used to head up the UK Ministry of Defense's UFO project, the Moods project.
Right. So our goal today, our mission, if you like, is really to cut through all the noise surrounding this topic. We want to unpack the specific details, what actually happened in these encounters.
And help you understand why defense agencies take this stuff so seriously.
Exactly. And how to sort of separate the official concerns from, well, what often get called silly season stories or just anecdotes. This deep dive is basically a shortcut to getting the Moige's perspective on this whole enduring mystery.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting, startling even. Our source, Nick Pope, he reveals UK pilots reportedly spent years trying to, well, shoot down UFOs.
Shoot them down. It's quite a statement.
It is, and not just once or twice. He says it happened a number of times. Some incidents apparently go way back to the 1980s.
And what's fascinating there is just how long this has been going on, sort of simmering under the surface. The British Ministry of Defense, the MOID, they've actually been looking into UFOs, maybe not always calling them that, but investigating since the 1950s.
Since the 50s,
Yeah.
Bob.
And it's not just the UK either. Other countries, they've got similar documented incidents. There seems to be this broader, maybe fragmented, but global effort to, connect the dots, see if patterns emerge.
So, okay, if they've been trying this for decades, the big question, the unavoidable one is, to Nick Pope's knowledge anyway, did they ever succeed? Did they ever actually shoot one down?
The short answer, no.
No.
No success. And look, Pope himself doesn't advocate for that strategy. He's clear about that. But the very fact that those attempts were considered, maybe even carried out, it really highlights how seriously these things were viewed. And frankly, still are viewed from a purely defense standpoint.
That lack of success, it does tell you something, doesn't it? If our best military efforts couldn't engage these things effectively, what does that suggest about their capabilities? And maybe more fundamentally, why even try? Why would a military try to shoot down something it doesn't understand? How is it seen as a threat?
We have to remember, every single country takes the integrity of its airspace very, very seriously. It's fundamental.
Right, territorial integrity.
Exactly. So it almost doesn't matter what you think these UAPs or UFOs are, whether you think it's aliens or secret drones or weather phenomena. An unauthorized object in your airspace, that is automatically treated as a defense issue, period. It's a national security issue. And an air safety issue, too.
Okay.
Now, obviously, the specific rules of engagement, they're highly classified, you can imagine.
Of course.
But trying to shoot something down, that's always the absolute last resort.
So when would it become necessary then? When does something unidentified go from being just weird to being a perceived threat for the RAF, the Royal Air Force?
The key threshold, according to the source, is if a pilot believes they're being fired upon, actively engaged.
Ah, so it's about perceived hostile intent, immediate danger.
Precisely. That changes the entire equation.
Okay, now this next bit, this really caught my attention. I think it will for you listening too. The idea of virtual dogfights between UFOs and military jets over England. I mean, UFO dogfight, that sounds like a movie title, right? But this isn't fiction we're discussing. What were these like?
No, not fiction. And you're right, it's a very dramatic term, dogfight. But yes, these encounters, these engagements, they did happen. The whole UFO topic, it does suffer from a bit of an image problem, doesn't it?
Definitely. Lots of noise.
Yeah, because of the sensationalism, the really far-fetched stories you sometimes hear, silly season stuff. But what's crucial to grasp is that behind all that, these phenomena are being seen by trained pilots, highly credible observers.
And tracked on radar.
Sophisticated military radar systems. There are many, many on-the-record incidents like this, these aerial engagements, over the years.
Can you give us a bit more detail on what these virtual dogfights over, say, the hills of England actually felt like for the pilots? What were they experiencing?
Well, typically it would involve ground control, using radar, vectoring the military jets onto an unknown target. Then the pilots would try to get a visual lock. The virtual part comes in because these objects, They didn't engage conventionally. Instead, they'd perform these incredible evasive maneuvers, accelerating instantly, changing direction on a dime,
Stuff our jets couldn't do.
far beyond the capabilities of the pursuing aircraft. It was like a high-stakes chase, but the target was always, it seems, several steps ahead. They couldn't be caught or forced down.
Wow.
And, these kinds of dramatic encounters, they probably played a part in why the Ministry of Defense is now moving towards more transparency. They're actually in the process right now of declassifying and releasing their entire archive of UFO files. Decades worth of material.
It's a huge and official government release of everything.
That's the plan, yes. Bringing in the public domain.
Okay, that is significant. Now, for most people, when they hear UFO sighting, like you said, there's an image problem. We might think of, I don't know, weird lights, maybe a weather balloon reflecting the sun, or drones becoming more common.
Right, the usual suspects.
Yeah. How does what the military is interested in differ from those sort of everyday oddities that often have simple explanations?
That's really the key distinction, isn't it? Look, maybe 95%, perhaps even more, of public UFO reports do turn out to be misidentifications. Things like balloons, strange cloud formations, aircraft lights seen under odd conditions, satellites, you name it.
Okay.
But that's not what the military and intelligence agencies are focused on. That's not the core issue for them.
So what is the focus?
Their interest, their real concern, lies specifically with those cases where unidentified objects are tracked on multiple military radar systems, sometimes simultaneously, and corroborated by visual sightings from multiple witnesses, especially trained observers.
Like airline pilots, military pilots.
Exactly. Commercial pilots, military pilots, people whose job it is to know what's in the sky. It's the combination, the reliable witnesses, plus the hard sensor data that makes certain cases stand out and demand serious attention.
Right, it elevates it beyond just an odd sighting.
Absolutely. It becomes a credible event requiring investigation.
So as we've gone through this deep dive, we've covered decades of attempted intercepts, these radar-tracked dogfights, now declassified files. The whole conversation seems to shift, doesn't it? It's less about, are they real? And more about, okay, what does this all mean? What are the big picture implications here?
Well, if you step back and look at what Nick Pope concludes, based on his experience, his view is on the balance of probability. He thinks it's more likely than not that we're not alone in the universe. That's his personal take. But crucially, from the perspective of defense agencies, whether these objects are extraterrestrial or some secret human tech or something totally different, it almost doesn't matter. The core point is this: unidentified, uncontrolled, potentially highly advanced objects operating in your sovereign airspace have to be treated as a serious national security issue. Full stop.
It's about protecting the skies, first and foremost.
Precisely. Regardless of where they come from or what they are.
It really does force a shift in thinking, doesn't it? Away from just speculation or sci-fi and firmly into the realm of, well, strategic defense concerns. Real-world stuff.
Yeah.
So today, you've heard how the UK's Ministry of Defense has been grappling with UAPs, UFOs for decades, and not just as some fringe topic, but as a genuine strategic challenge, a matter of airspace integrity, national security.
So here's something to leave you with, a final thought to sort of mull over. If governments, like the UK's, are taking this seriously enough to classify rules and engagement, document these kinds of aerial encounters, these dogfights, and now they're finally opening up decades of secret files, what does that really tell us? What does it suggest about what they know, or perhaps more importantly, what they don't know about our skies, and what might still be out there that warrants such serious, sustained attention?
It definitely makes you look up a bit differently, doesn't it? And maybe, just maybe, encourages you to take a look at some of those declassified files yourself, see what you find.